Hello, welcome to episode 10 of Attention Deficit Discourse. I'm Kevin,
And I'm Ray.
and today we have several topics that Ray um, discussed about um, that might be fun to talk about.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
think we've ever
it,
talked about these at work.
so, we'll try to cover all five of these, and we'll meld them together if we can. But they include most awkward, worst dates, drunk drinking stories, something you think you can do well with zero experience, crazy things we did as a kid, and lastly, unexplainable stories. And
Yeah.
so that's five crazy topics. And yeah, so a lot of these obviously have to deal with the past. And what excites you the most among these five
I don't
topics?
know. I think you've never, I mean, obviously I know you and Her Highness started dating in college, but you've ne obviously you've never talked about dating
Oh, and the
before
other
that.
thing, and I don't know if I ever told you, but she's the only one I've ever dated too. So
What?
there's not going to be, yeah, I've
You've
never
never been
dated
on a
anybody
date?
else. I've never been
You
on
know
a
what
date
though?
until like I was
Men
22 years old, 21
No, I don't
when
believe
I
that
met
because men
her.
are very oblivious.
100%, 100%.
People could ask you on a date, you're sitting there the whole time, they're trying to insinuate that this is a date, and
We
then it's going
we can
over
talk
your
about that.
head. I feel
We
like
can
that
talk about
definitely
that.
happened.
Yes, we can talk about that because I do retroactively think about that because when Pretzel asked me, like during the car ride when I was driving her to a clay class, she asked me if there were ever any other girls I was pursuing or going after. And I thought about it, and I thought that there were times of potential connections, but
Hmm.
maybe I never, just like you said, I wasn't aware of it. I didn't didn't give it attention. I didn't understand what was going on. And
Hmm.
so we can get into that as well. But how about what I mean, so I just said that I never dated or I never allegedly dated anybody until Her Highness came around the picture, and that was what, sophomore, junior year of college at UCSD in San
Hmm.
Diego. And yeah, I mean, that's straightforward. But how about you? When did you first start? When did you start dating?
So my parents were super strict helicopter parents, you know? Very, very, very strict. I'm so glad that like house cameras weren't really such a thing back in the day because oh my gosh.
Oh,
Or that
you're
the
really
iPhone,
young.
I'm glad that the iPhone didn't have tracking yet. Oh my gosh. Um,
But to be
yeah, they were
clear, you're very young. When you grew up, there were video cameras everywhere, right? Maybe they were more
yes.
pixelated. I mean, you're not an old fossil like me, where
I'm not an
we
old
didn't have.
fossil, but I'm old enough to where it's not like I grew up with the internet. You know, the internet came into my life a little later.
Okay, that makes
I played
sense.
outside, you know, I touched grass. But yeah, my parents were super duper strict, and so I wasn't allowed to date. And that's where my trauma starts because I'll give a little snippet into my trauma.
Okay,
But
okay. How old
yeah,
were you right at this time? This story that you're about to tell.
14.
Okay,
Yeah.
14.
No, so the thing is, my parents were super, super, super strict, and I got in trouble just for talking to a boy, like in a lot of trouble. And one day when we talk about when we trauma dump, I'll tell the story of how this all happened. But yeah, I was always like watched. I had to be home at a certain time, blah blah blah. But one day, this is I would consider one of my worst dates because I dated scum. I just want to throw that out there. They were all
Mhm.
scum. If they ever come across this podcast, you're scum. Like they were bad people.
Well, you don't have
But
to review their real names. You can give them A-listers. But proceed.
I'll call him Shorty because he's short.
Okay. Tell me about the
And
story Shorty did you wrong. Like he garnished your dishes with cilantro when you made it clear
oh,
that
he's
you
not
did
even the
not
worst.
want
Nah, it's
cilantro.
fine. No,
Okay.
okay. So, anyways, these people were bad. I was in high school very insecure, I'm a little awkward, blah blah blah. So this was my first time, I think, no, one of my first times like getting attention. And I was like, oh my God, because I was so insecure. And
Hold up.
then
One of your first time getting attention despite you being a prominent hip hop dancer and in theater?
I was awkward though. I was
Yeah.
awkward. And when you're not confident, when you're very insecure, people are like, ugh, they don't
But
like
you,
that.
but you were getting attention, that's all I'm saying. I mean, you were a
But
dancer
one-on-one
in
male
theater.
attention, Kevin,
Okay, fair, fair.
one-on-one, like singled out. Anyways, so this guy, he was part of my friend group. This is the delinquent friend group. So he's a year older than me. And I don't want to give away too many like things about him. But yeah, basically we were like, what? Oh, I don't, we're going to teach you new terminology today. We were talking. So when people say talking, it's like I guess like when you're still like flirting, you're not officially like boyfriend, girlfriend yet. You're just like still getting to know each other. You're still like going on dates, but nothing is official. So if I don't know if your kids say that because they're different
I
Gen Z
mean,
than me,
that
but
really
if we say
sounds like
like, oh,
talking to me.
yeah, that's
That's the
what we call it
definition
though,
of
like the
talking.
talking stage. That's what it's called. Okay.
That
Anyways,
doesn't sound new to me. That's
well, because
how
I
the
don't know what
word
your
talking has
generation
always.
would call it, like faxing one another. We're emailing. I don't know. What would you
What?
say?
We would say talking. I mean, we were
Oh,
just
okay, my bad.
talking.
Carrier
Why do you have to
pigeon.
think that?
I'm just joking. No, no, no. But I don't know
I
if
don't
you
know if
guys,
you were.
I don't know if you guys called it like a talking phase. That's the thing.
Oh
That's
my
what my
gosh.
generation calls
Okay,
it.
yeah. I would just say talking. I mean, if Her Highness saw me talking to another lady at work and she would be suspicious about it, I'd just tell her, "Oh, we were
No,
just
no, no,
talking."
no, 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 no. But when we say it, like when you say like, oh, me and blah 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 are talking, even though you're
Uh-huh.
not currently talking to one another. But if you were to say like, if I were to say like, oh, me and Andrew are talking to
Uh-huh.
someone, like to one of my friends, they understand that I'm saying like we are in the process of like getting to know each other, like we're interested in each other. Does that
What?
make
And you
sense?
say talking? Then
Yeah.
it, okay, what word would you say if you were conversing with someone in a platonic way and you'd have no intention to pursue this to any romantic realm? What would you say? We were speaking. We were conversating. Like
No,
you
no,
you
no,
took
no.
one of the most general words talking and
Talking phase, okay? Talking phase, supporting word lets the listener know that you two are flirting and going on dates.
okay, so if Andrew sees you talking with me, I mean not talking, conversing or whatever with me at work, and he asked you, whoa, 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 what were you doing with that Asian dude at work? You wouldn't
If
say, oh,
I
we were
say
talking. You
if
would
I
say,
say if I say I was talking to Kevin, that
uh-huh.
he understands that me and you were communicating. But if I say like if I were to tell one of my girly pops and be like, "Oh, me and Andrew are talking," or like we're in a talking phase, they understand.
That's just going to be grounds
Okay,
for
that's okay.
confusion. Anyway,
That's
proceed.
okay. Talking phase. We'll stick with talking
Okay.
phase
Uh-huh.
since you're getting confused.
Yeah, usually.
Anyways, super awkward, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so he invited me to a New Year's Eve party at his house. Obviously, my dad was like, hell no, are you insane? And I was like, oh, I didn't tell him that I was getting invited by a boy, but I was like, oh, like me and my friend, like we're gonna
Uh-huh.
go to a party. Is that okay? And he's like, no. I was like, oh, okay. And then he asked me to go like hang out at the park another day. And that day, I'm like, I already know the answer is no, no matter what. If I want to go out, the answer is no. So I was like super nervous and I was like, should I be crazy? So I literally like ran out of my house and into that guy's car because so maybe he was 16 and I was like
Uh-huh.
14, 15. But yeah,
Wait, this is
I
in
was
high school.
this is in high school and
Okay.
I like my heart's pitter pattering and I was so nervous. And I remember my dad was on his, okay, so my house is really small. If you open the back door, you can hear it like in the front. If you open the side door, you can hear it in any room. Like any room of the house, you can hear the doors opening because it's like one big circle. You can see the back door from like the living room, and it's really small. It's a small house.
Uh-huh.
So you can hear like the whole house literally shakes when someone closes a door.
So you
And
had to
they're
go
also
out the
like
window.
very creaky. Absolutely not. We have screens. That's too much work for a
Oh,
piece of scum.
okay.
And
All right.
so I ran out the front door. I asked my sister to lock me out. And then I had stolen a remote because we had remote gates and
Uh-huh.
ran into the guy's car and told him, like, you need to drive now because my dad was on the phone in his room. And I was like scared. And my dad talks loud, so I was like, he's not gonna hear the door, he's freaking loud. But I was like still scared, told my sister, like, lock the door behind me, ran into his car. I was like, punch it. And then we go to
You
the
didn't even
park.
try to be discreet about it. You didn't sneak out or anything.
You know, I
Oh
don't think
man,
my
you
dad
should
could
have.
catch me. I was fast.
Oh no,
Gotta
I thought
gotta
you
get
were.
out from his
I thought you were going
gotta
to be
run
more
fast.
sneaky, like have a little
Dude, my
mannequin in
yard
your
back
bed,
home,
and
everybody's yard is huge. If I'm sneaky going across the yard, it's gonna take me 10 years to get to hit that guy's freaking car. I gotta sprint. I got ground to cover. So
crawling, army crawl on the ground, like super slowly, all camoed
on the
out.
dry dirt in Paris, just like making a
You
little
would
dust
have
storm.
brown outfit. Yeah, you would just have a brown outfit with plants on your back, and you'd just be going really slowly.
No. So yeah, so we go to the park. It's fine. There's like this little kid, very funny. He's like super obsessed with Minecraft, blah, blah, blah. I still haven't gotten a call from my dad. I still haven't gotten any form of communication from my sister telling me like I'm in deep shit. So I'm like, okay, something bad's gonna happen to me. My dad hasn't called me. And then, yeah, I we are driving back like after we hung out at the park. I think we went to like get smoothies or something first, went to the park. After the park, he's dropping me off. But while we're driving back to my house, his ex-girlfriend calls him
What?
and he answers the phone and he's like, "Hey, yeah, yeah, I'll be there in like 10 minutes. Okay, bye." And I saw the name on the phone, so I knew who
Mhm.
called him. And I go, "Who is that?" And he goes, "Oh, my cousin." And then
Oh,
I said,
strike
"Oh,
one.
no, it's like strike 10 at this point." And I
Strike.
said,
You're out.
"Oh,
Triple play.
yeah, dude, freaking get out of my face, shorty." And then, yeah, I was like, "No, it wasn't." And he was like, "No, it wasn't." And then I just stayed quiet the rest of the car ride. And I'm like, I'm risking my life for this? Are you kidding me? Like, this guy doesn't know my ass is grass and my dad is going to mow it. I'm dead. Like, why am I on this stupid little date right now if you're about to
But
go
how
meet up
how
with your
was
ex-girlfriend?
you didn't even talk about the actual date? You mean you two just hung
No,
out at
this
the
is the
park
worst
and
part of the date is that he was going to meet up with his ex-girlfriend after.
okay, maybe he
So
was
yeah.
just multitasking, and I can't put all eggs in
Excuse
one
you.
basket and
That's like what a cheater would
didn't.
say, dude. You can't say that.
But it's
Yeah.
dating though. It's not like you two were monogamous and in a relationship. You two were just in the talking
Oh
phase,
no,
right?
Kevin, you don't understand. When you're in the
Oh,
talking phase, you
you
should be exclusive.
oh, I did not know that. I don't
Yeah,
know
that's when
these
you're like
Gen Z
focusing
rules.
in on someone. Everyone else should be gone. If you still have other
Oh.
people,
Mhm.
you're scum. And
But
then
then if
he
you're
dropped
in
me
the
off.
talking phase, or you can't be talking to anybody else.
You shouldn't be.
So if you're in a talking phase, are you two official already? Like boyfriend,
You're
girlfriend?
making your way to official. You're not
What?
official.
You're not even official. How can you be monogamous if
Kevin,
you're not
listen, if
even?
you can't zero in on someone while you're on the road to being boyfriend and girlfriend, then you are a little cheater and
You can't.
you just, okay, whatever. You don't understand, and that's fine. Anyways, drops me off at my house. I'm like, I'm gonna text him some stuff later, but I may need to make sure I'm alive first. So
Mhm.
then my dad was taking my little sister. So we always joke that my little sister's like an old person trapped in her body. So he was taking her to a baking class. She was the youngest person there. Everybody else was old. And so he was taking her to a baking class and he's like driving his truck and The guy drops me off. I get out of the car, I'm like panicking because now my dad can see who's dropping me off.
Oh no.
And I'm like, drive, drive, drive. Slam his door, run, get in my dad's truck, and I sit there. And my dad's on the phone again. So I'm like waiting for the call to end. The call ends. He doesn't say anything. And I'm
I'm
like,
surprised you ran into your dad's truck. I thought you would just run home or something.
well, the house is locked. So I know that I have to go
Oh,
with my dad because the house is locked and he has the house
okay.
keys. So get in the car, go with him to take my little sister to her little class. He doesn't say anything. And then a week goes by and we're at dinner. We're at Stierenstein in Moreno Valley, the most delicious steaks you can have in your life for a very good price.
Oh,
Not sponsored
okay.
yet. And we're there eating. I'm not even thinking anything. And my dad's like, "So who is that guy that dropped you off the other day?" And I'm like, because my mom, she's the one who cracks the whip for real, for real. My dad has never, like, hit us, but my mom, she used to throw hands. So I'm in public though, so they can't like yell at me or beat me, like I'm okay. But it was so scary and so unexpected because I thought I got away with it. But yeah, that was like my
Wow.
worst date, I think,
Oh my
because
goodness. But
he
whatever happened to that dinner then? Your dad just had a discussion and you said, "Oh, it was just a random dude," and
Yeah, I
he was
said,
like,
it's just a friend. And
"Okay."
he said, don't give me that bullshit. And I was like, he's just my friend. And then him and my mom were like, you can't like be going out with guys, la la la. So I think I got in trouble. I think I got my phone taken away probably for like a couple days.
A couple of days only? Oh my gosh, you're living a life. That's not
That
a
is one
punishment.
of the milder punishments, Kevin. I've had worse ones.
That's like no punishment. You probably pulled out your burner phone, your second or your third phone, and continued
No,
living
it's
your
not like I
life.
could walk to the store to get a burner phone. You have to drive everywhere over there.
You know,
There's
I
no
was
like
joking about the burner phones.
sidewalks. No, yeah, that guy was scum.
So no second date with Shorty. He struck out badly.
I don't even
He was out.
remember how it ended. But yeah, he was a player. He was a bad
You
person.
you're telling me that you had another date with Shorty after that, even after your chastising by your dad
I don't
and
think
mom?
so. I don't think I
Okay.
ever went out with him. I think I talked to him at school, but I don't think I ever like went out with him again.
But this parental strictness, you eventually overcame the fear surrounding this strict environment imposed upon you by your parents, right?
Mm, like,
Because you were 14 at the time. I don't know, by the time you hit 15, 16, 17, start driving more often, you you gain that sense of independence where you're
mm, at that point in my life, they were both working two jobs, so they weren't
Mhm.
home much anyways. So they couldn't really tell me to be home at a certain time and I had to be home at that time, like
Okay.
how are they gonna know? But yeah, no, I think I just started to get crazy. Like in high school was when I was just like, man, they are so strict and I'm never going to be able to do anything ever. And I'll go into another thing I did. I'll touch on two topics from our bullet point real quick and then I'll pass the floor to you. But one of the other things I did when I was 14 that was crazy. Because it was just like it was bad. It was a bad like high school was really great and really bad at the same time. Like it was horrible at home, but then at school I had like a really great group of friends and
The
yeah.
delinquents.
The delinquents distracted me for sure, but once I got to like an older like 16, 17, when I was junior and senior year, that's when it was like school was like a safe place for me. But so I worked at a snack bar at a baseball park. It
Mhm.
was an
The
under the
snack
counter
shack.
job. Yeah, like a snack shack or something. It was
All the
under the
snack
counter.
shacks are always under the counter. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so
I,
we got paid $5 an hour, which was crazy because some days I would work 12 hours and make $60. And I was like, woo, I'm rich. It's so sad. Um, and one day I got in a huge fight with my mom. It was probably over something like that, like me staying late after school, or I genuinely couldn't tell you. At that point, she would like get mad at me for everything. And so she was so upset at me. She's like, I'm not taking you to school. You can find your own way to school. And I was like, "Ugh." So then I woke up super early and I
And you
walked
had
to
to walk
school.
the entire 3 blocks to
And
school.
it took me like an hour something
Oh
to get
man,
to school. And
that's a
my
long walk.
school is on the other side of a hill, and it's a steep hill. It's a steep, steep hill. And then you go down the hill, and then that's where my school is at the bottom. And there's
Okay.
no way to get around that. If I want to take a different way, I still
Yeah.
have to go up a hill and then down.
So you kind of sound like me when I tell my kid that I had to walk uphill both ways to go to school.
Yeah, because I was gonna have to go back up the hill to go back home. And in Paris, there's very, very foggy mornings, like super, super, super foggy. Like you can't see anything and it's pretty dangerous. And then
Uh-huh.
later in the day, it's super hot. So I walked to school in the morning and yeah, it took me like an hour. And I gave myself plenty of time to get there so that I was on time. And then I walked home. And then I was like, man, that sucks. Like I got home just like feeling horrible. It's like so hot. I'm like so sweaty and gross. So my mom had been teaching me how to drive, and I was like crazy, like I said. So I stole the car keys for the car that she was teaching me to drive in, and I drove to school. And then when I got home, I was expecting like to get in so much trouble, and she didn't say anything. She was like so upset at me. She didn't talk to me, and she didn't even say anything about me stealing the car. And I was like, okay. So I just kept doing that. I kept stealing the car and taking it to school. And one day, I was leaving theater practice. It was pretty late. It's like 8 or 9, and it's dark out. I'm driving, and I didn't realize I didn't turn my headlights on. And a bright light flashes in my face. And my first thought is, oh my God, aliens. But then after my brain processed that it was not aliens, I'm like, oh my God, cops. It was cops flashing a light at me. And I'm like, and then I like understood that they're telling me to like turn on my headlights. I turn on my
Mhm.
headlights and my heart's racing because I'm like, I'm gonna go to jail. I don't even have a permit. I have nothing. I'm 14.
Mhm.
And they drove off. They didn't pull me over, nothing. So that's another delinquent story. Now that you told me your kids listen to the podcast, I'm like, I feel not good about telling these delinquent stories.
No, they've heard way worse delinquent stories.
Yeah, let's hear
So
your
you're in the
worst
clear.
dates. Let's hear your delinquent stories.
Well, I can't talk about worst dates because I've only ever dated Her Highness. And
Okay, did you ever have talking
but
phases?
yeah, I talked with a lot of girls in college. They were
Talking
they were
phases though,
all
Kevin, not talking as in friends, talking like
friends, yeah,
on the
but
path to relationship.
perhaps I didn't know that they could have been on a path to relationships. But I've had like lunches with girls at college, one on one, multiple
That's
times.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And
But you never got the like inkling that any of them had feelings for you?
no, I just never thought of it that way because I've always been friends with them, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so there was like this one freshman year, right? There was this one girl who lived like in Warren College, and I was in
Mm-hmm.
Marshall, so it's a long walk away, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I always thought that she was really cool. She was like a computer hacker, kind of nerdy girl. I thought that was really cool. And she was already seeing someone at the time, so I just never imagined that it was just going to be strictly platonic.
Mm-hmm.
But we still hang out, right? And I remember there were a few times where I would just come out. She would ask me if I had free time, and I would just come over, hang out with her, and we would play games and stuff like that. Most of the time with the roommates. But later, eventually, I would start hanging out with her, and I noticed that it would just be me and her hanging out, just the two of us. And I'd never thought of anything beyond that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and I remember like this would go on for like months, years. And I just never thought of anything because I've always thought that she was still with this boyfriend of hers. And little did I know that she broke up with this dude. And she broke up with this dude like before I even knew about it. And I only knew about it because one day after we were hanging out, I asked her about him, and she said, "Oh yeah, we broke up. We're not we're not seeing each other anymore." And that's when it dawned on me. I was like, "Oh dang, I maybe she wants to get
She's
with me."
macking on me.
She's totally macking on me. But by that point, I just how can I put it? I just never saw her as a like a romantic pursuit ever again. I just thought
Oh,
that we were just
man.
gonna be friends. So
This poor
I just
girl's
treated it that
thinking
way.
she's going
Yeah.
back to her friends.
And I
She's like,
remember
me
she
and
was like
Kevin
instant.
are in the emailing phase right now. We've been
I
going on
know. No,
dates.
we were on AOL Instant Messenger, AOL AIM, and she would
I was
message me,
right.
right? She would message me like late at night one night, and I'm like, I can't remember what I was doing, just hanging out with my friends or something like that. And it was really late. I got back to my dorm. We had these giant desktop computers, and she would message me. She sees you. You know, I had to make the sound like door opening, door
Yeah,
closing
yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
you're on AOL Instant Messenger. I got on right, and she messaged me saying, "Hey, come over." And I was like, "Dang, it's really late." Although it was like a Friday or Saturday night, it was like really late, like midnight or 1 in the morning. She asked me to come over, and I was like, "Man, I'm tired. I just got back from partying." And she said, "Oh, I just want to hang out." And I was like, "Yeah, maybe we can do some other time." And I remember, I still remember to this day that she said that she wanted some friction. I was like,
Oh
friction?
my
She said,
God.
yes,
What
I
the
want some
heck?
friction. I want to hang out and have some friction. And I
Ew.
was like, I didn't understand what she's talking about. I was like, what are you talking about? And she like putting down those winking emojis. I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm
Oh
just
my God.
I'm a clock out
She
right
was
now.
in
Good night.
heat.
Door shut
Jesus
sound.
Christ. Got to spray her with water like a cat. Oh my God. That's crazy. And
I
that's so
think
funny because at that point you said you still didn't even understand. You were
I
like, nah,
know.
we can do
I
your physics
never
experiment
understood.
later.
I never understood. Yeah, I think I did reply back with a
Dude.
physics joke, right? I was like, friction, I know the equation for that. Blah blah blah. But
Oh
that
my
that is one of
God.
those examples. Oh, here's another
Yeah,
example.
see, you're
No, no,
telling me
no.
that you didn't have dates. This was
I
clearly
don't. I never
like,
considered those a date. Just hanging out with
okay,
a friend because
yeah, but people
we hung
considering them
out
a date.
together. Yeah, but we hung out together all the time like that, and in the presence of roommates and whatnot. But I never drew the conclusion that she was macking on me, and it's
That's
kind of
really
sad.
bold for her
It
to not like if she didn't wasn't confident that you liked her.
mhm.
Sending that AOL message was crazy
No,
bold.
no, I did like her though. Like
What? Oh my God,
no, no,
Kevin.
I did like her, but I felt
Dude.
like that time has passed because I've always looked at her as like taken. So I just never, I just moved on. You know what I mean? I moved on and always looked at her as a friend. And I feel like once you make that transition, at least for me, I don't ever go back. It's like I'm no longer interested anymore.
So
Like
even
I
when she
now
told
like you as
you
a
that she
friend.
broke up with her boyfriend, you weren't like,
Mhm.
"Oh yeah, it's time for
Yeah, no, I
me
wasn't. I wasn't. I was
to
like, man,
leave."
I hung out with you as a friend for a while now, and that you're just my friend now.
You were like,
Like,
"You
and I'm
ruined it. Look
happy,
what you
and I'm
did."
happy. No, and I was totally happy with it. Like, she was super interesting. We could talk at length about like these nerdy topics, but it
Yeah,
just
I could tell
became
she was a
that.
nerd.
It was it would be like I don't know, it'd be weird for me to pursue a romantic relationship with her. And then I'll give you another example because especially I was telling Pretzel about this. There was this
Oh, Pretzel,
when
this story?
yeah, I told her about all of this,
You
yeah,
told her
because
about that AOL message?
she no, not about that message.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I
what
don't
the heck?
it's just joking. Come on now. But when I was at UCSD, you know how you spend first year living in dorms
Yeah.
and they're all male or all female.
Yeah.
But for some reason, our suite was very close friends with our neighboring adjacent suite down the
Mm.
hallway
Yeah.
of another 8 girls. So the 8 of us guys will always hang out with 8 of those girls. Sometimes like we would all go meet together in one of our common areas and we just watch a movie together, right? And there was this one girl, let's just give her a nickname, Nikki. She was this cute Asian girl, and I actually thought she was really cute. But again, she had a boyfriend, and I think he was a long distance boyfriend, like 2 hours away in Irvine.
Jeez. Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, she was another example that I just never considered
She's trying to
because
cheat on him with you?
no, no, okay,
Oh.
I'm gonna get into it, but we hung out all the time, like us 8 guys and the 8 of them, and over the months, it I was the one that was closest to these 8 girls. So whenever they go out on movies, for example, with their boyfriends and as a group, they'll start inviting only me among the 8 guys in our suite because I don't
Ah.
know, I was just hanging out with them. They liked me the most. I don't know, whatever. So I hung out with them frequently enough that I just like hanging out with all of them, all 8 of them. And they were just
Hmm.
really friendly and we could talk about anything and it was just good times. And I would always invite all 8 of them to the parties that I would be DJing at, for example, and we would just hang out all the time. And after the first year, they all move out to apartments, right? But there were 4 of them that moved into Costa Verde, the apartments
I live
near the
there, yeah.
campus. Yeah, I lived there too. So they lived in one building. I lived in another building. So I could still visit them, and I did visit them frequently. But little did I know that Nikki broke up with her long distance boyfriend. And I didn't know, right?
Kevin
But
is the relationship destroyer.
no, 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 I have
Keep
no
your
doing. I
girls
had
safe. Keep
no,
your
no, no.
boyfriend
This
safe. The moment he meets them, boom, breakup.
it's just so coincident, right? So,
Two
and
times is a pattern.
I get a message on AOL Instant Messenger AIM from one of the other girls who's had this other boyfriend long term. They end up marrying, they have a family today. They're like college sweethearts, right?
They
And she
survived the
messaged,
Kevin breakup curse.
no, no, I would never interested in her
Ah,
at
so
all.
that's why she survived.
No, no, no. Anyways, you're adding a lot of cray cray stuff here, Ray. But she asked me if I was doing anything that night. I think it was like a Friday night or Saturday night, right? A party weekend. And I said, no, what's up? And she said, oh, do you want to come over and hang out? I was like, oh, yeah. What do you all have planned? And she said, oh, nothing. Actually, Nikki is going to be by herself at the apartment. How about you
Someone
just go
else
hang out with
invited
her?
you to hang out
Yes,
with Nikki?
her roommate,
That's
Nikki's
weird.
roommate. Yeah,
Why?
Nikki's roommate. Yeah, Nikki's roommate invited me to hang out at a place saying that she just by herself at the apartment. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of sad. I guess I can keep her company. Okay. So I go over there. Nobody's there except for Nikki. And I can't remember the details, but she just asked me, "Oh, you want to hang out in my bedroom and hey, let's play some music and blah blah blah." And I can't remember what we did. Like maybe she showed me some videos of cats or whatever, and we talked about school, hung out, and I felt like a little awkward in that situation. Like, oh, what the
Because you
heck?
were starting to
Why
get
am
the
I
vibe
over
that she
here?
liked you at that point.
I thought we were just hanging out,
But
really,
why'd you
quite
feel
frankly.
awkward unless you
I just
had
felt like I felt awkward because I felt like, oh, it's just me and her in this place. Like maybe I should find out what we can do, like go out somewhere. And that's what we actually did because I heard music outside and I said, hey, you hear that music? Let's go out and explore. So I took her out with me and I just like Toucan Sam, the toucan smelling the Fruity Loops. I just used my ears. I followed the music and there was a house party at Costa Verde and I just like knocked on the door and a dude opened. He's like, hey, yeah, come on in.
What
and it
the
was a
heck?
blasting. It was a big ass party, and there was like a DJ in there. It was like crowded. It was like people drinking, and it was a legit party in there. And I was like, "Hey, Nikki, let's just hang out here. There's a party right here down the floor. Let's just hang out." And so we were at that party for a little while, and I mean, I was having a good time because I I was a DJ myself at the time, right? So I was chatting it
So you
up with the
ditched her
DJ
to
over
go
there.
talk to the
I was
DJ.
chatting up with the DJ over there, and I was like, "Oh, damn, yeah, what kind of tunes are you dropping?" Or, "Oh, what kind of mixer is this?" Some kind of nerdy stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
And meanwhile, I was hanging out with Nikki over there, but she didn't want to drink. I think she's always been a teetotaler,
What is
and I
that?
think, oh, you never heard that term? It's someone who never drinks,
Uh-huh.
teetotaler.
I've never heard that.
Someone who never drinks, not even a sip. That's a teetotaler. That's
Okay.
my little bro is a teetotaler, for example. Like zero drink, zero drops, just
Okay.
completely abstains. And
So
so
you brought this teetotaler to a party knowing she was a teetotaler.
I did not actually know she was a teetotaler until later, but she just
She
no, I
probably
think
thought you hated her guts. She's like, I
she
asked this guy to hang out. He comes over and then he's like, get away from me. I'm gonna ditch you in this party. I'm gonna go talk to the DJ.
and try to convince me to drink.
This is
No,
the
no.
second person too that probably felt like, dang, why did he do? Makes me think he likes me just to turn around and crush me.
So, anyways, I sensed that maybe the party wasn't her thing. So I took her back out and we went back to her place. And
Next
I
party.
can't remember what else we did. And I think she had like a hammock in her room and we were sitting in and we were just talking. That's it. And I think I was the one that called it quits. I was like, oh, it's getting late. I gotta go back home and feed my
Dude,
hamster or something like that. I
sitting
did
in
have a
a
hamster, legit. I had a hamster named
sitting
Bleach.
in a bleach?
Yeah, the hamster's name was Bleach. My
Why?
sister named the hamster that. It was like all brown with a white butt half.
Oh,
It's
that's kind
almost
of
you dip
funny.
the hamster into bleach, and yeah, I don't
That's
know.
funny. Like you
But the
drop
hamster
bleach
was
on him.
cute. Yeah, yeah.
Dude,
No, not
how
that I
did the
did, but
hammock not make you like the hammock is
well,
that's romance vibes right
no,
there.
there were only two options in that bedroom. I mean, I can sit on her bed, which felt kind of
You could sit on the
private and
floor.
awkward. But then I don't know. I wasn't thinking. And then there was a comfortable hammock, and I just sat on it. I was the first one to sit on the hammock. All right, and
But when she came and sat with you, you weren't like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
I was like,
What you doing,
what's
girly pop?
Yeah, I was not very intelligent, you know. I just didn't know. I was like,
I
oh,
think,
maybe she really thinks this hammock is comfy and she wants to sit on it too. I'm not going to be like, whoa, 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 I call dibs on this first. Get away from me, woman. I was going to say that. Like, what am I? That's her.
dude, men
What am I
are
going to
so
do? Get up
oblivious
and be
to a
like,
woman.
oh, I'll sit on this bed instead.
Oh
Maybe
my
she was
God.
cold and I was exothermic and she wants some warmth as well. I don't know. Like,
The bed would
I
have
can't
made more
put one and
sense.
one
Oh
together,
my
right? No,
God,
the
dude.
bed is weird. I'm not gonna sit on someone's
No,
bed
for her,
and
if she was cold.
uh-huh.
No, dude. Men are oblivious as hell. This
So I
girl,
was totally oblivious of that, and I think in hindsight, I think for sure she was seeking something more than friendship, and I felt like I squandered that. And then it made it feel worse because later in hindsight, I thought about how her roommate made me go over there. I didn't know that she was trying to be like a matchmaker, you know? And I just
mhm.
felt guilty all around. But even years after that, I was still friends with all the other girls in that suite, in that
You're like, who's
apartment.
next? Who wants their heart
Yeah.
broken
No,
next?
I'm just friends
Line
with
up.
all of them, right? And I didn't want to make it all weird and complicated. There was this other roommate. She was really into electronic dance music. So
Uh-huh.
I always had tons to talk about with her. And we actually went clubbing together, that roommate and my group of friends. And then there were two other roommates that I was still very close with, and we would talk about everything. We were biology majors, for example, for one of them, and the other one I just hung out with all the time. And so I was just friends with this group of girls, and I've always been friends with them. And I never had romantic interest in any of them, except maybe like in the very beginning when I thought that the Asian girl was pretty cute.
Hmm.
But once I knew that she had a boyfriend, I just drew the line, and I was just never interested again. Like you're telling me that you never had like a dude friend that you were interested in, but he was just unavailable, and you got to the point where you never saw him that way ever again because man, that happened to me all the time.
No, I don't think so. I didn't go after people in relationships.
There was
You
this,
home wrecker.
and I'm not trying to say that I never tried to pursue ladies because I would definitely try to pursue
What was your
ladies
pickup
at
line?
college.
What was your
I
pickup
didn't.
line?
Man, I'm lame. I don't have any pickup
What'd
line.
you
I
say
would
to
just
them
go up to
then?
them. I would just say, "Hey, I'm Kevin. What's your name?" And I would just talk to them.
And
Just
then?
I don't want to have a pickup line. I would say, "Hey, what made you interested in coming over here?" So when I
What
was
made you interested in talking to
that, that
me?
that's how I would meet girls most of the time, right? Because I would join social clubs at college, hoping to meet girls,
You were trying to get
and
your MR degree.
but I joined like two social clubs because I saw a cute girl in those clubs. And I joined strictly because I was following the cute girl in those clubs. One of these girls in one of these clubs, I think I was highly interested in her. I thought she was super cute. Um, it's crazy story itself because I remember I was just walking to class and I was skateboarding to class really quickly, and I see this super pretty girl, and I didn't even know who she was, her name, whatever. I just see her and I was like, dang, wow, she's really pretty. And I go home that day and I went to the next door suite and I talked to my other friend and I told her, oh man, I saw this really pretty girl. And the school's big, right? Like 35,000 students. And my friend, let's just call her Angie. Angie asked me, oh yeah, really? What did she look like? I was like, oh, she had like shoulder length hair, kind of brownish. I think she had freckles. I saw her walking down that path, and Angie was like, I know exactly who you're talking about. I was like, no way. No way. I said, yes, yes, I know who she is. And there's a website of the social club that I am part of. And I think you're talking about her. Let me pull up the website. Let me pull up her picture. She pulls it up, and it was exactly that girl. And I was like, holy crap. And Angie tells me, you really got to make a move on her, Kevin. She's single. She's single, and
You said,
she's I agree,
not my
she's super
type. I
pretty.
like them
And I
in
was like,
relationships. Get back to me when she has a boyfriend.
messed up, Ray. You're messed up. You're just besmirching my reputation right here. So I tell Angie, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you actually know her. And let's just call her Emma. So this girl, Emma, was in this social club, and Angie was telling me, join the club with me. I mean, I'm already in the club, but go to the next club meeting with me and I'll introduce you to her. And I was like, I don't know. I don't think I'll fit into this club. It's
I
like a
prefer just
club.
stalking her from afar.
It was like yeah. And when I ended up going to me, I did end up joining the club, and I became a webmaster and everything. I had an actual duty. I was an officer in the club and everything. Um, and yeah, and we did meet each other. I did meet Emma, but she ended up traveling abroad the next year, and so that was it,
You
right?
really do like going after the unavailable people.
Unavailable. And this brings me to another story because one of my first jobs at UC San Diego was working at the library.
Hmm. Oh, I know this one.
And there I met two different girls, right? Both of which I felt like something could have happened. But one of them, I really liked her so much. Like when you're working at the library, you're working at the checkout counter and you're literally just sitting there waiting for students, professors come by with a stack of books and you check them out for them. That's it.
Mhm.
But most of the time you're sitting there, you have your coworker sitting next to you
Mhm.
and there's so much idle time. But I remember there was this one girl, I can't even remember her name anymore, but we just talked all the time. It was like we could talk indefinitely every day without a minute of silence. And I just felt like we had such a good chemistry. And I just remember being crestfallen when she told me that she was going to. I think I asked her about her summer plans, and she's just told me that she's going to go to France, study abroad for the full year.
You said
And I
perfect.
was
You're
like,
just my type.
and I just remember being like, yeah, really bummed out about that. And I just, yeah. And I remember gifting her one of my posters that I had for a while. It was like a poster on penguins. And yeah, I wrote like a note on the back of it and I gave it to her.
Saying
And that
what?
was it. Yeah. I
I
can't
will
remember.
I will miss you, Pookie Pie.
You're being the romantic right now, but no, it was, I can't remember. It was something
Dang.
poetic. It was something poetic.
And then
And
you
then
sat, window open, staring out while it's raining, just staring off, thinking me and her under the same
it might have been
sky.
raining. So she's gone for the full year, right? And what is even crazier is that she actually comes back to the school, and
Oh,
I've only ever seen her once ever. This was already by the time she comes back, I'm actually already in a relationship with Her Highness, and I see her at a Snoop Dogg concert at the Remac Arena. It's
oh yeah,
super
yeah.
crowded, right? Ton of people, and we are near the front, packed like sardines, everyone dancing. And I see her right across the crowd, like just like 10 feet away from the side and the back. I don't think she ever sees me, but I see her, but I'm already with Samantha, and I don't even approach her to say hi or whatever. Yeah.
Not even to say hi.
Yeah, and
Hello,
I
my
don't know. I
friend.
do regret that, but I don't know. I just felt like I liked her so much that I didn't even want to. I don't know. Like I was trying to be faithful to Her Highness, you know. I
Dang.
didn't want to. I didn't want to open up that can of worms, you know. I don't
Make
know
them
how.
fight for you.
No way. I don't want to. I don't want to stir up conflict. But yeah, that was one. And then the other girl I worked with at the library. I mean, we were just really close all the time. We hung out a
Dude, you
lot.
had a freaking
We had a lot of lunch.
armory.
No,
Jesus
but
Christ.
I just looked at her as a friend the entire time. Just like we would watch TV together, we would go on lunch together, like
Guys would
just
lay
like
in
a
a
friend.
hammock
We would
together.
no, none of that for sure. No, nothing physical like that or physical proximity. But she's always telling me about drama that she's always had. And I remember I got a Mary J. Blige record, No More Drama, and I wrote a note on it and I gave it to her. And I remember like I was passing by, I had it in the car and it was late one night. Like I was coming home from a party or something. I was like, oh yeah, I can drop it
Dude.
off. And I went
Dude.
over to her apartment. It was late at night, and I remember her roommate opened the door and she called her down, and we were just I gave her the record and we were just standing out there at night, like midnight or something, out in the front yard. Like you can see the clouds of wispy cloud from our breath in the night. And we were just talking for like an hour. And then, yeah, but this again, like she was always a friend. I met her because she was from the Bay Area as well. We had biology. We were both biology majors. We worked at a library together, and that's how our friendship started. And
So did
yeah,
she
I
like
just,
you?
that's an interesting one. Like, if she did, like, she never made a move. and I never made a move, and
But
so
so
our
you
life just
liked
moved
her?
on, you know?
You did like her
Like
then.
in high, like I always liked her as a friend, but for sure, if she made a move, yeah, I think totally we'd be in a relationship,
You were waiting
right?
for her to make a move?
Because I just
That's crazy
didn't know
because
she
when
was
they
interested
make
in
a
me,
direct
right? I
move to
just,
you, you
yeah,
don't
but
even catch it.
I just don't know they were interested, right? And yeah. So I think about that. That could have happened, like, and I think any of these ladies, I don't know, they were all totally fine. And I feel like you ever know people who are perfectly content with, I don't even know if there's a term for it, but if they meet someone, they just try to make it work. So I met Her Highness when I was what, sophomore, junior
Yeah.
year.
Uh-huh.
She's the first one I ever truly, legitimately dated, and I've just was focused on making it work, and I've never dated anybody else. And I think for her, it was pretty clear that we were dating because I remember, I mean, sure, we might have eaten at restaurants and stuff like that, but
She had to
I
say
remember
it to your face. She had to say, "We are on a date. Confirm and sign here, please," so that you were aware.
a contract lawyer next
Do you acknowledge
nearby,
this is a
right?
date?
Put your hand on the Bible, raise your other hand, and testified.
Fingerprint this paper.
NDA agreement right there. And no, no. Then I think, yeah, that's pretty much covered all of it. That's
So
all
you never
my.
had an awkward date with Her Highness? You never had like an awkward phase or anything? Like a date that was like you're like, oof, I messed that up.
No, I mean, clearly I didn't mess up anything
I
because we're
mean, you can
together.
have
We
like
got
a
three
little
kids, but
hiccup. You're acting like
no,
you
I.
guys never had
I
any
mean,
type of
within our relationship,
bump.
we've been together well over 22 years by now. We've been together more than half of my entire life.
Yeah, that's
Isn't that
wild.
crazy? But no, we had a lot of different awkward dates in the beginning because when we first met, we met at the DJ club in college, right?
Mhm.
But she met my roommate first, and my roommate was super interested in her and taking her out and everything. Even though they had nothing going on, she always viewed my roommate as just a purely platonic friend.
You were like,
And
"Uh-huh, yeah,
yeah,
girl in
I
a
know. Yeah, but
relationship.
I because
I'm
I
ready to mac on her.
no,
She's
no,
ready."
it would never a relationship, never romantic at all.
Oh my
Because
God.
my roommate was such a weird clown too. Like he didn't even have a car, so Her Highness would always had to pick him up to go to the record store. So he would just piggybacking off of her to
Oh,
go
so
to the
wait, did you
record
have a car?
store. I did have a car, yeah.
So she was like, "Get rid of this bum. What am I doing driving this man around?"
Yeah, yeah. That was that's probably the most awkward part with Her Highness. Just that initial stage where she had to not hang out with my roommate anymore.
Kevin liked to test the integrity of the home.
Homewrecker. No, for reals. You don't have any homewrecker stories yourself? I'm sure you do. Tell me some homewreckers. I can't be the only
Excuse
homewrecker.
you. Huh? Why'd you
No,
say I'm
nothing.
sure
No.
you do? That's rude. Dude, this is
I'm
strike two on this friendship. Kevin's mean to me, you guys.
I don't have like a strike 10 like Shorty. Shorty strike 10 immediate triple play out.
Oh my God.
Okay, that's
Um,
enough about me. How about you? You gotta go back to your awkward date because you only gave one. It was Shorty going to the park, and that was
like
nothing. Come on.
I have bad stories. Okay, so another one was senior year of high
I
school.
gave like a machine gun of like 10 different
Okay,
embarrassing.
okay,
You
okay,
gotta
okay.
come on, you gotta
All
share
right, all
some of
right,
that
all right.
love.
Okay.
No need to
The
hold
thing
back.
is, the thing is, I like these people. Okay, as an adult, I wouldn't care if someone was still like okay with their ex, but in high school, someone still being friends with their ex was a bad, bad sign. Okay, it was a bad sign.
I wouldn't know. I've never had an ex, so you tell me.
Okay, so high school, I started talking. You understand,
Quote unquote. She's
kind
doing
of.
air
He
quotes.
understands. If you're young, you understand. If you're not as young,
You're a
just kidding.
dinosaur like
Kevin's
me.
not old. Kevin's not old. It's okay.
I'm a
Okay.
fossil.
So another guy I had in my Spanish class, we will call him number four because that's actually my code name for him from high school too.
Number four.
Because that was the period that
Wait,
I
because
had him
you're
for Spanish, fourth
oh,
period.
number four. Okay. No, I
So I
thought
call
he
him
was
number four. I
number
saw
four
him at the
boyfriend.
gym too, because me and my brother would go to the gym super early in the morning. Oh my God. We would go to the gym at like 4 or 5 a.m. and then come home. Like I would get ready for school. He'd go to work. Um, but yeah, I saw him all the time at the gym. And I was like, is that the dude from my Spanish class? Couldn't tell. It was. Eventually, we start talking. Now he tells me he has an ex-girlfriend and she's horrible. She's so awful, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And he told me who she was, and I like never had classes with her or anything. I didn't know her really. I like knew of her. Like I'd seen her before, but I didn't know anything about her. And we'd never talked. And he was like, yeah, she's horrible, like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. He's like, she was like basically about to cheat on me with her ex. And I'm like, my God. So I'm thinking he hates her. He would call her all types of names. And basically, he would like go back and forth between like talking to me, talking to her. And he would tell me, like, oh, yeah, the other day she told me that she was gonna like herself.
Oh
And
man.
it was at like 3
Getting
a.m.
real
that she
dark right
texted
here.
him
Oh my
that. So he
gosh.
went over
Uh-huh.
to her house at 3 a.m. to comfort her. Bad, bad sign. And so
Yet
I'm
you were
like,
still going along with all of this.
well, I don't want her to herself. So I'm like, yeah, go freaking make sure she doesn't do anything. I'm like, yeah, definitely go check on her if she's like sending you, like she needs
I
you to help comfort her. I don't know.
Yeah, I shouldn't be laughing or smirking about all of this. I mean, it's a pretty dark subject, but just your sound effect, it's pretty hilarious.
Well,
I don't,
okay.
you've been practicing that, huh? It's like,
No,
it almost looks like a hanging. Like I'm picturing Pirates of the Caribbean, they're hanging and the neck snapping. That's really what
no.
it sounds like.
The like I don't wanna the thing is I didn't want to call her bluff, but I
Uh-huh.
do know of people doing this as a manipulation tactic. They're not genuinely planning
Oh,
to do
yeah.
anything,
Hmm.
but again, I don't know her and I was like, let's not even test the waters.
Yeah.
So he told me that. And then yeah, like Valentine's Day comes around and he breaks up with me like 7 times that day. Like he texts me, he's like, I don't know what I'm saying, blah, blah, blah. Texts me again. He's like, no, no, I want to stop. Like, I want to stop talking to each other, da, da, da. Literally on and off the whole freaking. And I'm like, I put my phone down. I was like, I need to get ready for work. So at this time in high school, so June, no, senior year, I was working at a grocery store. I was working at Ralph's. So like the equivalent of Safeway in SoCal.
Uh-huh.
And or like a Kroger or whatever. So I was going to work and he knew I worked there. He like visited me, I think like 1 or 2 times. But he knew that I worked there. And I went to work and at this point we're broken up, and I'm just like go to work and I'm like and I'm bitter as hell seeing people buying stuff for their significant others and I'm like I see this guy who's dating one of she's not like my friend, but we're cool with each other. And I see him buying her flowers and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so freaking cute. I'm like, "Arr," bitter. And so I worked, I think, till like not even that late that night because I wasn't supposed to work that late. Sometimes they would have me stay late. They would have
Hmm.
me stay later than they were supposed to, which like illegal. And I think I finished at like, I don't know, let's say 8 or 9 p.m. And I finished later than I was supposed to. I went an hour into overtime. So I don't know how long Mans was waiting in the parking lot, but
In a parking lot.
I went an hour into overtime. I come to my car and he's standing there with like stuff for me. And I was so mad because I was like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like, you have broken up with me like freaking a million times today. Oops, sorry, I smacked my mic. Um, and I'm like, what are you doing? And so I told him that. I was like, dude, you don't know what you want. And I was like, and I'm just like, I'm tired. I'm tired of this. It's annoying. Like, I don't know what you're doing. And then we got into like a little fight in the parking lot. My dad calls me raging. He's like, "Where the f are you? Like, da 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 da. You should be home by now." And I was like, I had to work overtime. That's bullshit. I'm like, you can come ask my manager. And he's like, get home right now because my parents, again, were so strict on me dating. Daughter
Mhm.
hasn't come home. It's been an hour since she was supposed to be home, and it's Valentine's Day. So my dad's like freaking losing it. And he's like, "Who's with you?" I'm like, "No one, no one." I'm like going to my car. "Who's with you?" I'm like, "No one, no one." I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna die again over a stupid boy." And he's like, "Get your ass home right now." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm coming. I'm gonna drive safely though." And then I'm like, trying to buy myself some time. And I'm just like, we finished that conversation. Me and the guy, it's like not a good ending of the
Uh-huh.
conversation. I'm upset. He's upset. We are next to each other on the road, side by side, driving home. And it's so awkward because he's
Why don't you just
speeding.
slow down
He's
and
speeding
let him pass you up?
He's speeding, like to, signal to me like a
Uh-huh.
bird that he's angry. And then he's speeding, but then at the light, like we keep ending up at the same stoplight. So it's like we keep ending up next to each other. And I'm just like, I don't know what to do. And then I don't even know, like an hour later, maybe less than an hour later, his sister texts me and she's like, or she messaged me on Twitter and she's like, "What happened? Ford just got home and he popped the balloons and he was so upset." And I'm like, "Girl, I'm sorry. I really like you're cool and everything, and I don't want this to be weird." Because me and her were like cool with each other. She was younger, but not that much younger. I think she was a freshman. And I was like, "But I can't, like I'm done with this man." And then his mom gets on the Twitter account and starts messaging
What?
me.
The
And I'm
mom.
like, what the heck? And she's like, "Hey, I don't even remember her name." But I had met her already too, because I had been to his house one time. And then, yeah, she's like, "Hey, my son didn't mean to hurt your feels." And I was like,
Your
oh my
feels.
God. I was like, this is too much. And so I just told her, I was like, no, he doesn't know what he wants. And like, I don't have time for this, which at that
Uh-huh.
time, like, I really didn't have time for that.
Yeah.
I was fitting him in my schedule. I was
Uh-huh.
working. I had 4 AP classes I was taking. I was like in sports and stuff. So I was just like a busy girl. I was barely sleeping. So yeah, I was like, goodbye, sir. And then like I don't even know. It got like kind of fuzzy for a little bit. But then he asked me if I would want to go to prom, but not like officially asking me. It was just like we were just, shooting the shit. And I didn't want to go to prom. And I made it like pretty clear. And I told some of my friends too who were planning to ask me or who like told me or someone accidentally snitched that they were gonna ask me. I would be like, "Hey, just want to let you know, like I don't really want to go, so don't go through any effort." And then
Mhm.
yeah, so he knew that. And yeah, I didn't go to prom. And that day, you know what? Sterenstein is always present in these stories because we went to Sterenstein that night with my family to eat dinner. And then when we got home, I go on Snapchat. You know what Snapchat is.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah,
Go on
absolutely.
Snapchat.
Communications tool.
One of that girl's besties I had on Snapchat because me and her were cool. She posts a picture of them, the guy and his ex-girlfriend. And she's like, "Cutest couple here." And I'm
Oh,
like, because like I said, he was talking smack on her like crazy. He called her not nice names at all. And I was like, what? And at that point, I think we were still like working our way back towards like rekindling. So I'm like, what the hell? And then his sister messages me and she's like, "Yeah, he just called my mom saying that he's gonna get a hotel room with her." Crazy. I
that
was like,
is.
dang. So I just sent him a screenshot because I was crazy back then. I sent him a
Uh-huh.
screenshot of the story from Snapchat and I just said like I was like, yeah, we're done. Isn't that crazy? And then he still, dude, he was just a mess. He would talk smack about her, and I think a year after high school ended, he got her pregnant.
Oh man.
Isn't that
Jeez.
crazy?
You're
Yeah.
always trying to get out of bad relationships, and I just never get into relationships. I like my life more. Come on.
No, yeah, it was bad. Like I Andrew always says she sure knew how to pick him. I'm like, all right, wait
Uh-huh.
to rub
Uh-huh.
salt in my wound. But yeah, that guy, another time I risked my life because I would tell my mom like, oh, I'm going to the gym, like if it was a weekend, and then I would like go to his house and see him for a little bit. And I was
Uh-huh.
like I said, if tracking was a thing back then, oh my God, we would have never met. I would have been dead.
So you haven't had any other dating situation before Andrew?
I never like I had boyfriends, but it was not like a real boyfriend. You know what I mean? Like we
Okay.
didn't go on like dates, I guess. We dated
Okay.
for like a freaking couple weeks. Like it was
Uh-huh.
not a real, it was stupid. It was really stupid. So I never
Now
had
you,
like any real or serious partners before Andrew. And honestly, they were all just, I have bad stories. And you might be thinking, is the common denominator me? No, the common denominator is that they're men. I promise you that. It was so horrible. But yeah. Yeah, so oh yeah, I was gonna tell you about, you know how I was saying that some days I would leave late from work?
uh-huh.
I'm trying to like nicely smooth us into the next topic, but to talk about something that I can't explain.
Uh-huh.
One day I was leaving Ralph's late. It was like 11 or 12. It was super late. It was beyond the time they were supposed to let me leave because I wasn't allowed to stay till midnight because I had school. But then I think they were like super desperate, like someone called out or whatever. So they kept me till midnight, which I liked working there late because the weirdos came out and it was so entertaining. During the
Uh-huh.
day, it's boring. There's like the suburban moms like making demands, and you're like, can you just relax? It's not that serious. It's just yogurt. Like it was so fun to work at night because it's like very empty. And then when there were people, they were just so weird.
They're
Like I
open
remember,
24 hours, right?
no, we would close at 12.
Oh. Oh, okay.
There are some that open 24 hours, but ours wasn't one of those.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I remember one time this guy came in asking me where the ketchup flavored chicken nuggets were. And I was like, dude,
I've never heard of that.
I was like, I don't think that exists. And he was like, no, it does. My daughter said they're here. I took him to the chicken and I'm like, here's the chicken. And he's like, calls her, hangs up. He looks at me and he's like, she said they're at McDonald's. I'm like, okay, good luck.
Not a McRalph's.
Yeah. So anyways, one day I'm leaving work late, and what I used to do in high school, which I never realized was like a coping mechanism for my ADHD, is when I would get home from school, I would go to sleep. So I'd like shower, go to sleep, and then wake up in the middle of the night, so midnight to 3 a.m., whatever time, however much time I thought I needed to do my homework. And I would wake up and do my homework. That way, there's no distractions. There's no one on social media. There's no one I can text. I
Wow.
have to be quiet, so it's not like I can watch TV, although sometimes I did very quietly while I did my homework. Um, but I would sleep very little. I was basically pre-gaming college.
Mm.
And so that was just like kind of my routine that I did that I never processed was me eliminating my distractions. So I'm driving home from Ralph's and I saw in the because P Paris has no light pollution, right? So
Uh-huh.
you see just the black sky, the stars. It's amazing.
Uh-huh.
And I'm driving and I see in my rear view mirror a light moving very fast and changing directions very quickly in the sky. And I swear by this story, and I know sometimes my memory is unreliable, but I swear by this story. This was the only time where I was like, you know what? Maybe aliens have been here. I pulled over because I saw it and I'm driving. I'm not trying to like, crash into anything, although there's nothing. But in Paris, there's no streetlights and there's no sidewalks. So it's not like I would know that I'm driving into someone's like fence or house. But
Yeah.
everyone has like gates in Paris. Everyone has a gate or a fence. And so I pull over, I get out of my car and I stare at it. And I took out my phone, which is like an iPhone 4. So I can't see anything on it while I'm trying to like record or take a picture. But I remember staring. I had my phone, I put my phone up to record it, and I was like, dude, you can't see anything. And then it just was changing, and then
Uh-huh.
boom, gone. Light is gone. And I will never forget it because I was so like how can I, no one's gonna believe me or people are gonna think, she's just sleep deprived, she's just crazy. And so I got back in my car and I drove home and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a little nap on the couch right here, like maybe like a 2, 3 hour nap. I'll wake up and I'll do my homework. I go to sleep, and this was the first time in my life that I had ever gotten sleep paralysis. Ever. Have you gotten sleep paralysis?
No, you mean you can't get up afterwards?
Yeah, you wait. So you'll like open your eyes. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I literally smacked my mic like 3 times today. Um, you like open your eyes, but you can't move your body. It's the weirdest feeling in the world.
That's
And
like
you're
all three of my kids when they were going to elementary school, and I get them up in the morning.
no,
They have sleep paralysis, all
it's
three of
like
them,
a
every morning.
it's like a real like you can't move your body. And supposedly it's because there's a chemical your body releases during REM so that you don't act out your dreams, so that you're not like, moving.
Hmm.
And yeah, I woke up and I was like stuck and I was freaked out because I was like, what the hell is going on? How come I can't move? And I was like trying to move my body. And another aspect of sleep paralysis is that you can hallucinate. And I saw someone walk into my kitchen, but it was very faint, like, and it was like a, what are they called? Flannel? Like someone wearing a flannel, like walking into my kitchen. But it was like quick. Like I just saw like walk, walk, they're gone. And I was like staring and I was stuck and I was freaked out. I closed my eyes, opened my eyes again, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And then finally, I was able to like sit up and then I whipped out my phone and I Googled what just happened. I was like waking up but not able to move. And then I found that it was sleep paralysis. And I was like, oh my God, what are the chances that the day that I see freaking aliens, I get sleep paralysis? And then I told my friends at school and they were being stupid. And one of them was like, you got probed. But yeah. It was crazy. So I think that's one of the only ones that, like, out of all things that I've seen, like, even as a kid, we swore we saw a ghost, but that was something that I was, old enough to not be just like a little kid with my imagination running wild. Like, I was driving and I saw it.
So
Very
you
crazy.
you took a video of it?
I
And the
tried,
video,
but I had an
what
iPhone
happened?
4. Like, try
Yeah,
recording the night sky. You're
but
not gonna see
nothing
anything.
happened. Oh,
It's
okay,
just
you couldn't.
black.
Okay,
You
that's
can't even
fine.
see the little stars twinkling.
Oh
Yeah. How about you?
no, I got nothing. No unexplainable. Everything can be explained for
Okay, what did I
me.
see?
Um, Probably a drone. A drone.
A drone?
Yeah, a
And where did
drone.
it go? Why did the light just...
It ran out of battery, and it all of the power just went off, and it sunk to the ground.
Hmm.
Like
And
you
you
know when
think it
something
can
dies,
change
all the
that
lights.
quickly?
Oh yeah,
It was
drones can move
changing
very quick.
fast, dude.
Drones can move really quick. Yeah, there's some drones that can
But
zip
like,
around really quick.
but it was huge. Like, it was not like a small area. If it was like a small area where I was seeing it, it was like
But
all over the
yeah,
sky.
but you wouldn't know. Like it could be really close to you, but you think it's far, and you're just looking at a tiny little white light, but you
I
think
don't
it's
know,
far.
man.
That's
I don't
all
know.
I'm
It
saying.
was crazy.
Or it could be an alien looking at you,
You don't believe in
probing you.
aliens? Stop it.
Sure, I,
You
I
don't,
think they're likely to exist, I
you think
think,
they've been
out
here?
there.
Lizard people.
No, I don't think they would even look like lizards. That sounds primitive. No, I don't think so. I think
But you don't think they've been here?
they're probably out there. I don't think they would have any reason to come here. unless we have resources that they don't have. Like,
People, I
there's
think
no
I told you,
purpose.
people think they live in the ocean.
We don't see anything down there.
Well, we can't go deep enough to see stuff.
No civilization. I mean, we got sonar and stuff like that. We can't see anything down there
Mm,
unless they're really tiny.
maybe they're camouflaging in the rocks and stuff.
That sounds like so much work to avoid being seen
Maybe they're not
by
lazy.
inferior.
They're
It's
not
like
lazy
me, it's
like us.
like me trying super hard not to get noticed by my dog. Like, why would I want to do that? Like, I don't care. My dog sees me.
Well, it's not like your dog, if he sees you, he's gonna try to like shoot at you and kill you, curb stomp you. Like if those aliens got,
Come on now.
if they were
Let's
discovered by
let's
Americans, are you
come
kidding me?
on.
They're gonna throw rocks at it, shoot it, throw a
No,
stick at
you
it,
got to think of it the
poke at
other
it.
way. If aliens have the ability to come over here into our planet, into our solar system, maybe from another galaxy even, you think they aren't armed?
Maybe
Like
they
that's
like to
crazy.
watch us, like we're a little
No
snow
way.
globe,
If they're
We're
over
like their little
here,
zoo.
if they're over here, they are armed. They are carrying some massive heat. That is for sure. Like they're not gonna fly over here in the mothership or whatever, and the leader of that alien mothership will say, "Oh, hey, do we make sure to bring our bazooka and our guns? Because what if these things are hostile to us? Come on, they wouldn't build a giant vessel to travel over here with no weapons. You kidding me? They're totally gonna bring weapons, and if we like insult them, they can vaporize our world, right? So, to think about the technology that you would have to come over here is something that we don't even understand yet. So
Yeah.
they would be centuries ahead of us to even know how to travel outside beyond their solar system.
Hmm.
We can barely send a probe out of our solar system. So yeah, I
I
don't know.
feel
I don't
like you never read Project Hail Mary, huh?
know what's that about.
You should read it. It's good. It's by the same author who wrote The Martian, Andy Weir.
It's fiction.
Andy Weir. Yeah, it's science fiction, but it's wholesome. You should
Okay.
definitely read it. It's a
Wholesome.
space sci-fi book. It's very
Space
easy read.
puppies creating love out there, killing
No,
other
but you
alien.
should read it. It's different than your typical alien story.
So I should be able to find this book in the children's section in the library. Just
No, I
wholesome
don't think
and
it'll be.
loving.
I think it'll be young adult probably. It's good though. It's really good. Um, what else? What else? Oh yeah, what's something you thought you think you would be good at without ever trying?
I haven't given that much thought. What do you think?
Waterboarding. I'm
Waterboarding? You
so
mean
confident that I
you
could,
administering or you being waterboarded or you
yeah, I'm
doing the
so
waterboarding?
confident that I can be fine. I'll just drink the water.
You?
Yeah.
What? No way. Yet you're so afraid of the ocean and water.
What do you
How would you
mean?
be? I thought
I'm
you were
not
afraid
afraid
of the
of
ocean.
water. You think I have like rabies or something? I just, I think I could be waterboarded. Like every time we were watching a movie and they were waterboarding someone, and I was like, dude, I could totally, like the
I think
CIA
it's
wouldn't get anything out of me.
no, it's terrifying. I mean, the act of drowning is pretty terrifying. You can give it a try yourself,
I've
but
thought about
make sure that
your
no
unemployed
one
friend
walks
on a
in the
Wednesday.
room. Yeah, no one walks into the apartment when Andrew is waterboarding you, and they're never gonna believe him when your friends
Can't a
like,
girl have
what's he doing to her?
hobbies?
Yeah, being waterboarded. Like,
Hey, what have you been doing all this time you've been unemployed? Oh, I've been cooking. I've been trying to exercise and read, I've been seeing if I can be
subjecting myself to
waterboarded.
waterboarding.
Don't punish yourself for not getting a job. It's okay. It's never that serious. You don't have
Andrew
anything?
interrogating me.
You don't have anything you can think of?
I feel like if it's something I think I can do well, I do it, right? Even with your
But
experience.
something
Why
you've
wouldn't
never
you pick
tried,
it
like
up?
Andrew never, ever, ever went ice skating in his
Uh-huh.
life. Took him
Yeah.
ice skating. Mans was
He did
flying on the
well.
ice. He was so good at it. And I knew he was gonna be good at it. So I feel like that's something, maybe. I don't know. Anything you think you could do? Wrestling?
Skateboarding and snowboarding, I never did it, right? But you got to start somewhere.
I thought you've
And
been to Tahoe.
yeah, I have. Yeah, and I enjoy snowboarding.
So
And
you
I never
have
done it
done
before.
snowboarding.
I have, yeah. Yeah, it was fun. And
Wait,
I could do it now.
you're saying,
Yeah.
wait, confusion. You're saying that you feel like you could skateboard and you've never skateboarded before.
The I mean, when I picked up skateboarding, I've never done it
Dude,
before.
though, huh? What?
My
Kevin,
big bro came home one day. He had a skateboard. He said, "Try it
the
out."
more
And I
we
just tried it
talked,
out.
the more I'm convinced these girls were telling you to your face. They were like, Kevin, I really like you. And you're like, cool, I like you too. And then you walked away and they're like, what's
my
happening?
my
Like,
point
that
is
was not the
that
question, man. The question
my
is right now, as you presently
yeah, but
are,
right now I
do
can't
you?
think of something I can do well with zero experience because my point is that if there was something I think I can do well with zero experience, I'd be doing it by now,
You think you
right?
could get waterboarded?
That is not something I'd be keen on doing. This sounds painful. Like, why would I want? It's like me telling you, do you think you can take being struck by a hammer on your big toe very well with zero experience? Because I wouldn't
I'm
want to
just,
subject myself
that's
to
just
that.
something I'm confident at, like stupidly confident for no reason.
I think if you put your mind to it, you can probably do most things well with zero experience, unless it's something that is limited by your physical abilities, right?
Yeah, like I
That's
try to
what I
play
think.
piano, but my pinky's too short. It can't reach.
Yeah, but it's like that. Who would that said that you put 1,000 hours or something or 10,000 hours, you can be an expert at anything. So I'm pretty
That's
sure that
crazy.
even if you think you can't play the piano, if I were to put you in prison and in your prison cell is nothing but a piano and a bed and your toilet and sink and whatever, and you had to be in this prison cell for 30 years, I'm pretty sure I can come visit you after 30 years and you'd be crazy good on that piano.
10,000 hours is over a year, but let's say not every day, all day. Let me say, how do
So
I?
anybody can be good at anything, really, unless there's a physical limitation. Like, I can't expect you to be able to slam dunk a basketball because if you're too short, you can't jump that high to slam dunk. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of an odd.
3 years. If you do it 8 hours a day,
That's a long
it's
time, though,
three
right? That's full
years,
time. three
five
years
months,
full
and
time.
3 days.
Yeah, that's a long time.
That is a long time.
And you can be for sure really good at it or whatever you pick. You can
Yeah,
be sewing, piano, I don't know, basket weaving, sculpting, painting. You do
I
it long
think
enough, you'd be good at anything.
I feel like I could be good at getting waterboarded. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
You tend to think about being a spy so that
No, I
when
would
you're a
never
spy
work for
and
this country. Ugh, yuck. I don't think they would let me to if they see my Twitter.
you be like a double agent. You say, I would never work for this country, and then the Russians hire you as their spy, but then you come back
KGB,
to US,
KGB.
you be a double spy. You be a spy for Russia, but you're truly a spy for the US. Double
Hmm.
agent.
We watched a
But
movie yesterday, and I was telling Andrew, I'm like, dude, they give American police way too much credit because they're really not that smart. I feel like the CIA is probably also not that smart. Like they were showing in the movie. I'm like, all right, let's calm down. There's like a CIA agent probably producing the movie, and they're like trying to boof themselves up, look better. They're like, yeah, make my character a little buffer and make him really smart.
yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know much about them because I'm sure most of what they do never comes out to light,
That's
right?
true.
So we wouldn't know. And the people who do
Hmm.
talk are probably the people who are lowly enough that they have to talk, right?
Ah, yeah, 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 yeah.
Right?
The
You
ones
think
that
about it.
the
Like if
little
you're a
guinea
really
pigs.
legit top level CIA agent, you be working that job, you come out, you never talk about it because you were so successful. But if you were one of the low level bottom dwellers in the CIA, FBI, whatever, you come out, you're displeased about what you did, and then you have to try to strike a book deal or interview or start talking about it. Yeah, I feel like you
No,
probably
they're not
never.
gonna let you strike a book deal or talk. You're gonna
Yeah, they do get
mysteriously
book
die.
deals.
You're gonna accidentally shoot yourself in the head 10 times, and they're gonna be like, dang, poor guy. He himself, you know? But
There goes a sound effect again. I like.
yeah, no, for sure. They're not gonna let you go and profit off of what you did before. They're gonna be like, dang, did you hear about blah blah blah?
People have done it
Yeah.
already, right? I mean, there's a
What?
lot of former CIA agents that wrote books. Yeah, not the
Who?
only one. Let me ask
Are they still
AI.
alive? Or did they mysteriously fall 10 feet?
let me uh let me ask. What are former CIA agents' memoirs? So yeah, there's several of them.
Really?
Melissa Boyle Mall, Lindsay Moran, Floyd Paceman, A Spy's Journey, a CIA memoir. But
I don't
I'm
know if
pretty
I'd be
sure they don't
down.
review any confidential information. But yeah, they were former members of CIA and
Too
former
risky.
agents. They talk
Too
about
risky.
as long as they don't release classified information, they should be fine. But it's not like you had to be silent your whole life.
Too risky. I'm not trying to have my family find out that I accidentally dropped a toaster and a freaking blow dryer into the tub.
And killed someone, someone
Killed
else.
myself. Yeah, no, 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 no. I think if I was done with that job, I'm dipping. I'm leaving the country and I'm living somewhere else because I've watched a lot of TV. I've learned a lot in my time. You know, it
But
never
wouldn't you be
ends well.
worried? You'd be worried
About
about your
what?
former foes taking you down for what you did in the other
But
country.
do they know that I'm their foe? Why do they
Wouldn't
know
you
that?
be
If they know I'm
worried
their foe,
that
then I'm not a good agent, right? I'm supposed to keep my identity a secret.
someone else leaked it?
Then I have to
Or there's
myself.
a mole in an
Damn.
agency.
Dang. Then that's my fault for not catching the mole. See, Americans are not that smart. I'm telling you. All right. I guess Kevin wants to end it here. He doesn't want to keep the party going. So we'll end it
I think
here.
an hour and a half is a good amount of time for our
Yeah.
listeners to bear with awkward dating stories and unexplainable aliens and waterboarding, especially. A lot of we went from awkward to unexplainable to very dark,
That sounds
dark.
bad to say we went from dating to waterboarding. Would like to make it clear. Just because I said these people were bad does not mean anything that happens to them these days is my doing. Just want to throw that out
Yeah.
there.
So, reminder to the audience, Ray right here loves to be in really bad relationships and loves to be waterboarded. So, I think the common denominator may not be the men in her life, but
No, the
maybe
common
Ray
denominator
right
is
here.
that they are men, and men on average are not good people.
And let us ignore that she enjoys being waterboarded to make that.
And Ray, or not Ray, I'm Ray. And Kevin let us know today that he loves when people are unavailable when they are in relationships. That is just chef's kiss to him. He's
And I'm
like,
a
"Yup,
home wrecker, a home wrecker.
yeah, yeah." And what else?
So, my moral of the story is if you want to avoid bad relationships, don't get into a relationship just like me.
You're literally in it. What are you? What's, huh?
Yeah, I'm in a good relationship that I chose to get into, but you were in a lot of bad relationships because you got into them.
That's
But
because my brain was underdeveloped. And like I said, I was insecure at that time. So, when you're insecure, unfortunately, you make bad choices. But now that my brain is developed, I have clearly seen the light. I have Andrew. He's a good person.
Oh, so you never dated after the high school, after your high school
Like I
fiascos?
went on dates here and there in college,
So
but
pretty
they
much
were,
you found Andrew in home run.
yeah, but at that point in my life, I wasn't planning to date. Like I was pretty content, like with my
Yeah,
life, having
studying,
my
studying,
friends, watching my
working.
shows, doing
Hmm.
school, going to work. Like I was pretty busy and I just
All
wasn't looking for anything. I was like, yeah, I'm chilling. I feel like that's when it happens.
right. So, anyways, yeah.
Hmm.
So next time we talk, we can talk about our drinking drunk stories and crazy things we did as a kid. Stay
Thank you for
tuned.
joining us. We
Have a
hope you
good one.
hee-heed and ha-ha'd. Goodbye.
Take care.